Okay, well, I think we'll just kind of get started. So personally, just a little brief of myself. Chelsea, I'm the regional sales manager here at Best Choice Realty. I'm not here to manage anybody, but here really to support the agents in business development. Sometimes I'm a cheerleader, sometimes it's a venting session every now and again. It's brainstorming and coming up with ideas, just so that we can achieve our goals. And I know with real estate, each individual, our goals are different. They are not always the same. But one thing for sure, I know that social media is really big. And I always challenge. Sometimes I'm in there, and every now and again, I'm like falling back. But I have followed you since I started real estate. And so, since I started real estate. And so it's, sometimes you get these nuggets and you apply them and then they kind of go out the window. So that personally is where I'm at. But I know for all of us here at Best Choice Realty, it's just one of those things. We just have to jump on board and try to get comfortable, even when it's not comfortable. But I love that you just kind of look at being your authentic self and being able to bring that out. And so I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I'm so happy to have you here. And then I know, and Lisa, we want to just offer up a special thank you to Lisa for connecting us. And Lisa, if you would like to say something, we would love to hear from you as well.
Well, thank you for letting me jump on here. Most of you know Lisa Schultz, you can tell Chicago title, but this is just a special treat for me to have a national speaker, podcast, superstar, and somebody who's training hundreds and thousands of us in the industry to be better, connect with clients and future prospects. So I'll be brief. Chelsea, thank you. I pulled all the chips for this favor, and you are a doll for doing this on your busy schedule. So thank you very, very much.
I'm excited to be here. Candace, thanks so much for the kickoff and the warm welcome. And we're going to dive right in, friends. And hopefully most of you have something to take a few notes on. And this is meant to be an interactive, safe space for any and all questions. And I'm actually going to kick off with a bunch of questions. And I'm going to talk about some of the content rules that I break as a social media coach. Now, I do have to do a proof of life check, even though this isn't a CE accredited class, but I want to know that you're out there and that your fingers are working. And so I want you to type in, how many years have you been in real estate? How many years have you been in real estate? Go ahead and drop it in the chat, just so I know that there are people that are out there that are alive. Yay, Lisa's got 25, 6, 5. Okay, nice. Yay. Okay, great. Thank you for putting all that in there. Love it, love it, love it. So I've been in the industry 23 years, and it might even be 24 now. I'm losing track of it. After like 20, I was like, something around there. So I am a former realtor turned real estate educator. And I, once upon a time, earned my living as a full-time realtor for many years. I was licensed for 18. And I did business the old-fashioned way, mainly because social media did not exist when I got my license. And one thing that I remember to this day that my wonderful broker, who is still a dear friend, would say to me every single day was, okay, how many people did you talk to today? And 23 years ago, a full day was 4. I was like, well, I went to coffee, and then I met a listing appointment, and then we went here. And now with the beauty of social media, which purely is just a vehicle, not a destination, it is literally just another way to be able to talk to people and to create real relationships using this device that we all have. And my background before I was going to be a real estate agent, and this is important for you to know, is I was going to be a therapist, and I'm highly emotional, very empathic. And I figured it probably would be not very good if their therapist was crying in every session with them. So I didn't become a therapist, But I jokingly tell people I became a realtor, which is sort of the next best thing. But I really am passionate about understanding psychology and how people connect. And specifically, I've done a lot of work in the area of technology and social media and how we can use it for good and not evil, if you will. Basically, is it possible to be human through technology? And is it possible that you can actually form a real relationship, meaning someone knows your face, they are familiar with you, they're developing trust, and yet they've never met you in person yet? So a lot of my work has been around that. I wrote a book called Talking in Pictures, which was exactly that topic. And yes, you don't have to buy the book. I'm here to tell you that our brain has no idea if I'm actually talking to a human being through a screen or if I'm talking to them across from me in the same room. And I will tell you that that keynote was a little bit harder to sell before the pandemic. And then the pandemic happened, and then this happened, right? Zoom. We were all Zooming and FaceTiming and Microsoft Teaming and everything else in between. And while it's not as good as being there with you guys right now in the same room, gosh, we're never going back, right? It's just too convenient. And so we have to learn how to show up online or in a digital world as we would in the physical one. And so one of the reasons that I always tell people that they're frustrated with social media, regardless of how long anyone's been in the industry, is primarily because we're showing up differently online than we would offline. And we're going to talk a lot about video today. And I understand there is a lot of psychology and emotion around video. The idea of putting yourself out there on display for potential strangers, or even maybe worse, people that we know, to view our content and to have an opinion about that content and possibly even disagree with our opinions or perspective. It's scary, it's vulnerable, and you're human. So we'll talk a little bit about how to overcome that on video. Now, what I want to dive in with first is I want to answer the questions that I know that you have, but a lot of you are not going to ask because, hey, listen, that's what we do on Zoom, right? We're just like, we don't want to put our hands up. We don't want to turn our cameras on. So I'm going to beat you to the punch, and we're going to just get all the social media questions that I'm most often asked out of the way from the beginning so that we can focus on video content from here on out. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my list. You don't need to see the list. I'm just going to make sure that I don't forget anything because there's a lot of questions that a lot of people ask that I think are really important. So the first question I get often, okay, friends, and you're probably wondering this, is how often should I be posting? This is part of the social media content rules that I break, okay? I tend to be a little bit of a disruptor. I call myself a unicorn because I love rainbows and unicorns and happy things and smiley faces, but I am a little bit of a disruptor because I'm a big believer in doing something that is going to work for you long-term and is going to be sustainable for you and your business and your mental health and your emotional health. We do not need you to get burned out. We do not need for you to become a full-time content creator and all you're doing is creating content unless you absolutely want to do that and it fuels you and brings you joy. I understand that you have a full-time commitment to serving your clients and helping them buy and sell real estate, and you probably have another full-time job in your own household. So the idea is not to get you to create all of this content all the time. And I will tell you that if you're looking for permission to not post every day, I'm here to give it to you. And I'm going to tell you why you don't need to post every single day. It's kind of the opposite of what many social media coaches teach. But there's this really cool thing, and you might want to write it down. I'm going to talk about it throughout the programming today. It's called a recommendation algorithm. That's a lot. That's a big phrase, recommendation algorithm. And I'm just going to simplify that and tell you exactly what an algorithm is and how it works. It's just a fancy word for software, basically like you would have in your computer, or more, I think, relevantly, if any of you have ever watched Netflix, if any of you have ever gone to Amazon, if any of you have gone really anywhere online or even YouTube, you've experienced a recommendation algorithm. Essentially, the data points are your behaviors. If I click on a pair of shoes and I look at it, maybe I even put them in the basket to buy and I abandon my cart and I don't come back, that system is going to know, hey, maybe you're interested in shoes and you're going to get shown more shoes. If I go to YouTube and I am looking for content about vegan baking, I'm going to see content about vegan baking. And when I come back to YouTube the next day, what am I going to see? More content about that. It's recommending content that it predicts I want to see. Now, what does this have to do with your real estate content and your posts? Because of a recommendation algorithm, this is what is not happening anymore. No longer are the feeds chronologically ordered, meaning I'm not seeing the most recent thing from someone that I'm following or even someone I'm not following. I'm going to see the most relevant thing. How does it determine relevancy? Well, do I talk to that person a lot? If I talk to that person a lot, either in comments or direct messages, I'm going to see their content higher up at the top of my feed, which is another pro tip. Yes, you should be talking to the people that you want to build a brand with, that you want to build a relationship with, because the more that you comment, the more that you direct message them, the more the algorithm takes notice and says, wait a minute, these people want to talk to each other. So we're going to resort their feeds and make sure that every single time that person posts in the future, it's more likely to get seen by that other person, which is a huge win. But if I posted something that was 6 minutes ago versus 6 months ago, it doesn't matter because now it's serving up the best content to the people who are the most interested. So here's a true story that just happened to me yesterday. I made a post 6 weeks ago and somebody sent me a direct message on Instagram and it was from that post because I know it was from that post because they referenced something specific in that post and that they just found me. And so if you've thought about, social media historically, you would post something and it kind of died after 2 days. Now your content has a much longer shelf life. So I don't need to post all the time. I don't even need to post every day because as long as I'm consistent and as long as I am staying in my lane of, is my content relevant, helpful, useful, or inspiring to my ideal person, then it's going to get sorted and served to those people. So a collective sigh of relief, hopefully, is going through the rooms, noting that you don't have to post every day. If you do post every day, will you grow faster? Will you get more reach and visibility? Could you get more views? Sure. But what's happening is these algorithms are not ranking me against you. It's ranking me against me and you against you, which is good news. So if you're feeling bad because somebody else is posting every single day and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're like, I can try to do that, but I find myself just posting to post because I feel like I have to. Well, that's not a good situation because it's not going to be high quality content and it's not going to bring you any joy. And then you're going to be like, I'm just posting this and nothing is happening. And you're right. That's because people aren't going to be engaging with it. So how often should you post? As long as you stay consistent. And what I mean by that is you're going to be doing kind of the same cadence every week. It doesn't mean you have to post at the exact same time. It doesn't mean you have to post the exact same day. I don't post on the same times or same days. I know that I'm committed to 2 feed posts a week. Maybe one's a video, maybe one's a graphic, and I'm going to talk to people every single day. Because remember, my broker said, how many people did you talk to today? And now I can talk to people with my coffee and in my pajamas, and they have no idea. And I'm engaging with them in their content. And it's so quick and easy. Here's another really cool thing. You don't need someone's phone number. You don't need someone's email address. You don't need to mail something to someone. Never before have we had access to other human beings that would be in your network or in your database like we do on the socials. So how often should you post? You can post as low as once a week, or you can do twice a week, or you can do 3 times a week, or you can do every day if you want to. Just pick something that you're going to stick with for a long term and that is going to be sustainable. I always recommend starting with 1 before you go up to 2 or 3 or 4. You have to know if you're going to be able to continue that cadence. There are no best days or times. Post whenever you want to post. If your zone of genius is at 5 a.m. or 5 p.m., great. Again, you post when you know you're going to do it, because sometimes I know this because I did it. I would say, gosh, I missed my window at 12 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday. Forget it. I'll just do it next week. And then I wouldn't do it. Okay, next question I get often, hashtags. Do hashtags even work? I hear that I should use less. I hear that I should use more. I hear that I should put them here, put them there, put them everywhere. Okay, here's how hashtags work on any platform. Essentially, a hashtag is kind of like the old school library. So I'm a Gen Xer, so hopefully there'll be some people that resonate with this example. But once upon a time, when you went to the library, they didn't have computers. You had to use something called the Dewey Decimal System and the card catalog. And it was this big, giant, huge, either metal or wooden, like drawers. And you would go to it, you'd look by the letters, and you would pull out this drawer, and there was like index cards in it. And these index cards would basically have every single book that was listed in the library. And you would find the index card you were looking for, and it would tell you where to go. So it would say, hey, it's in this aisle, it's in this section, it's in this shelf, and you would be able to go and find the book. That is how a hashtag functions. A hashtag helps us find content, whether it's a video or a blog or a podcast, anything that we're looking for. It's basically categorizing that piece of content and now making it discoverable or searchable. So here's what hashtags don't do. Back to our library example. Let's say I figured out where I'm going to get that book. I go over to the shelf, I find the book. Now I check the book out. I go home, I read it, and I hate the book. So what happens is hashtags aren't magic in the sense that they're going to help you grow, get new followers, convert people. It's merely going to help more people be able to find your content. Now, your content has to be the thing that actually makes them say, oh, that was good. I liked it. The ability to find a book in the library doesn't make the author a bestseller. So that's how hashtags really work. Now, hashtags still work. Okay. And so let me give you a couple of tips that will apply to any platform, not just Instagram, and really any keyword. A hashtag is just a word that has a symbol in front of it and makes things discoverable. So keywords, hashtags, a little bit of an interchangeable there. So 4 things you need to think of when you are using hashtags or keywords in your content online, because we want your content to be searchable. We want people to be able to find it. So first of all, what do you do? And that's the easy one. Those are the real estate related words, real estate agent, realtor life, etc. Those are the simple ones. Those are the ones that we think of immediately. But we don't want to stop there, because think about what your consumer, that potential home buyer, that potential home seller, they're not yet coming to the socials and typing in words like, hashtag real estate life. They're probably looking for location specific information. So that's the second keyword tip. So you want to use hashtags that describe what you do. And you want to use hashtags that describe where you do it, the city, the location that you're in. So let's pretend I'm still a realtor. I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. I would be using terms like hashtag Scottsdale real estate, hashtag Scottsdale homes, hashtag Scottsdale, whatever, fill in the blank, right? So I'm going to use a lot of those location terms so that people can discover my content, and also so that the computer understands, hey, this person's located in Scottsdale and they talk about real estate. So we're going to only show this to people who are actually looking for that content. There comes the recommendation algorithm again. So because I post about real estate and social media, you know who I don't get following me? Dentists. Don't get any dentists. I only get real estate humans, which is great because that's all I want. So again, we want what you do, where you do it. Now, this one seems a little bit obvious, but it's important. What is your topic or post about? You're not always going to be posting about real estate. You're not always going to be posting about the market. You're going to be posting about human stuff and things that maybe you're doing on the weekends or something that inspired you. And I just recently made that post that I mentioned that was 6 weeks ago. That post was a personal post, sharing a personal story. And it had nothing to do with social media or real estate. And guess what? I didn't use any social media or real estate related hashtags. And the person who found me yesterday and sent me a message must have found me through a hashtag. And so it's important that you are leveraging those words and not be so stressed about, oh my gosh, my niche is only this and I can only post this, because here's what happens. If I post a picture of my new puppy and I just use real estate hashtags, guess what? The computer is smart enough to know what's in the picture and that it has nothing to do with real estate. So it's not going to show that anyway. So what do you do? Where you do it? What is your topic about? And lastly, and here's probably the most critical one, what should people search to find the thing you're talking about? Are people going to be searching hashtag real estate agent? Probably not. Still good to use that because it's going to tell the system what you're all about. But if they're looking for home renovation information, well, you're going to want to type in words that you know people are going to type into a search bar and look for home renovation or home decoration or interior design or architecture. For me, this looks like, okay, so what do I do? Well, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker. And so my hashtags, if I'm doing educational content, often look something like real estate coach, real estate speaker, real estate educator. Okay, that's describing what I do. What is my topic? Well, it's about Instagram Reels. So I'm going to use Instagram Reels training, Instagram Reels tips and tricks. And you can see how they're all very similar. Now, I am not location specific, so I don't use location-based hashtags. You would use location-based hashtags. And then last but not least, what would somebody type in if they were searching for that content? Well, they're probably not going to type in social media coach, but they might look at social media tips, content strategy. So that's how I use hashtags. And yes, they are alive and well. They still work. You can use more than 3 to 5. And yes, it doesn't have to, there's no magic formula, because if there was, I would literally already have trademarked it and sold it. There's no magic formula to hashtags. Okay. So we have a few more questions that are commonly asked. Okay, should I have 2 separate accounts? Usually this is a question that is on in regards to Instagram. On Facebook, we have Facebook to thank for this as well, because they started the whole 2 separate accounts. They have your personal timeline and your business page. And I want to let you know that if you feel like it's tumbleweeds blowing through a desert in your business page and you're like, where did all the engagement go? You did nothing wrong. What happened was Facebook ran out of room in the feed. There's so much content. There's so many ads. And so they couldn't take away the friends and family content because that's why we're there. They can't take away the ads because that's how they make their money. So what do they take away? Content from business pages, unless you paid for it, unless you boosted posts or paid for ads. So long story short, Facebook started this like separation. And if you're over on your page, you're probably not getting nearly the engagement you do when you're on your personal side. So what happens when we went over to Instagram world, we thought, oh, well, we have a personal and a business on Facebook. We should do the same thing on Instagram. So it's not any of our faults. That's just what we did. What I will tell you is that if you have one account on Instagram, stick with one account, because you're one brand, one human, one account. If you already have one for real estate and one for you as the human, that's okay too. But if you are thinking, I need to create a secondary account, you do not. And I would recommend just one account. What often happens when there's 2 separate accounts is there's two separate areas of content. One is all real estate and one is you and your life and your humanity. And the one that's all real estate, it's not going to get the same kind of engagement. And then you're going to get kind of like, oh man, I have to go over and post something on my real estate. I don't get that much engagement over there anyway. I'll just post whatever. And then you're kind of in that cycle of like, oh, this kind of resent this account. It doesn't do anything. So one account is what I recommend. And honestly, 2 accounts is twice the work. So you can have one account on Instagram. If you're wondering what type of account, I have an entire series of free videos on my Instagram that you can click in my link in bio, and it says free Instagram course. You are welcome to take that. I don't want to get too much in the weeds on just one particular platform. Okay, so a few other questions that I get asked, and then we're going to just run right into it. Is it okay to use third-party scheduling systems? Yes, with an asterisk. Okay, so here's what I mean by that. A long time ago, there was potentially an issue with using third-party scheduling tools and the reach that it would be getting. And people had this idea of, oh, well, it's punishing you because you're using a third-party tool. Now, the majority of all of those tools are vetted and approved by Facebook, Instagram. And so anytime that a tool wants to connect to one of these social media platforms, it has to go through an approval process. And there is, if you're so inclined to look it up, there is an entire list of all the approved apps that you can find on Meta. You probably don't need to go through that because any big one you're using is approved. But what happens is sometimes we get into a set it and forget it mindset. And you got this content loaded up and you're going to schedule it out. And I'm going to post it on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for infinity. And the real driver of social media and the algorithms is your engagement, not your content. Your content, if people consume it, is the driver. But you can build a powerful personal brand without ever posting content. Now, I don't recommend that strategy, but you absolutely can, because your comments, your conversations are content. And that's the human content that you are engaging with other people. And remember, we were talking about how the algorithm wants to keep people on the platform. The more that I talk to someone, the more they have to come back to the platform to retrieve that message. And then they'll have a conversation back and forth with me there. So you don't have to worry about, creating more and more and more and more and more content, because your conversations are content. Now, if you are using one of those third-party platforms and you're never going in there to have any kind of engagement, that's when you're going to see that it's not going to work. So it's not necessarily the fact that you're using a third-party platform. If it's failing or if it's not getting the results that you want, it's likely because the reliance of just the posting and not going in. And if it's automated and I'm not going in and engaging with the other humans, that's when you're going to see that become a little bit more of a challenge. Okay, so let's dive into some video tips now that we've kind of answered some of those Q&A. If you have questions, feel free to just drop them right here in the chat too. It will not distract me. I will go back and forth and look at it. So please feel free to do that. So the first thing that I want to talk about, I am trying to pull up a graphic that I have, but can't seem to find it. So we won't worry about it. The first thing that I want to talk about is sort of building camera confidence, because I know this is something that many of us struggle with. And I'm uniquely qualified for this class because I was a totally camera shy individual who didn't watch my videos back for 5 years. Yeah, made a bunch of videos and never watched myself back because I knew that, oh my gosh, if I watch myself back and I hear my voice and I won't make another video. So I don't recommend that strategy because you know what? I would have gotten so much better faster had I probably watched myself back. But I also knew that, hey, if this is the only way that I'm going to do it, I'm going to just have to do it that way. And then I would go to all the classes and all the conferences, and invariably I would get the same advice. You just got to keep doing it, and eventually you'll get used to it. Meanwhile, I was sweating through every single video. I hated the whole experience. I never wanted to make one. It was always like an ordeal in my mind. And I wish that I had a couple of tools that I could use to step my way into making videos. So that is what I'm going to share with you is the steps into it. And I'm going to talk a lot about why you might be feeling the way you're feeling. So the first step, I'm just going to show my screen here so you can just write it down or take a picture. And I think we're recording this. So if anybody wants to watch it again. From current slide. Okay. So I'm going to talk about 3 types of video. And the way that I've laid this out is really, you should start at number 1. I hate to say should, because I'm not a rule follower, but if you have not made videos consistently, or if you feel kind of awkward on a video, or if you're feeling like it's almost cringe cringe to watch yourself back, which, hey, been there, done that, still happens to me sometimes. This is a really great place for you to start. So these are for my folks that know they need to show up on video, but are terrified of being on that camera. This also is not just for people that are building camera confidence. If there's anybody on the call that is doing video on a regular basis and you feel pretty comfortable on it, that's awesome. What you probably haven't done is this in a while. And if you need to wake up your algorithm, if you need to start making sure that the people who are being bombarded with content from every angle, if you want to make sure that you're going to be seen by those people more often, you're going to want to do this strategy. Okay. So the first type of video is 1-to-1. And it's very simple. You're making one video for one human, one video for one human. And my reasoning for this is you got to reduce the content stress. The idea of going live and who anybody could show up is a little nerve-wracking. The idea of making a video and giving 3 reasons to move to wherever, or describing, what a 2-1 buy down is, that's kind of a lot. That's kind of a lot. And then to put it out to the world and say, okay, do you like it? Give me some feedback, right? So nobody else is going to see this but one human being. The other big reasons that I want this to just be 1-to-1 is because one of the major challenges of showing up on video is what I call the alignment problem. Okay. This is where you're going to make a video. And let's just go with the example I just gave. 3 reasons to move to Scottsdale. Okay. And you're like, okay, I got my 3 reasons and okay, I'm gonna do this, this, and this. Maybe you've even memorized it, right? Because I do a lot of scripting because I'm doing educational content and I want to make sure that I'm like succinct and I'm getting it out and I'm not missing any points. So I personally like to script. Now, scripting is hard because it takes some practice. And here's why. When you're memorizing something, it activates a very different part of your brain. And when your brain is thinking about bullet point number 2 and 3, and your mouth is on the intro, it's off because your eyes start to change the connection and you lose the warmth cues in your face. And because you're probably sitting or standing, you're not moving like you normally do. And so what happens is you kind of have this dead stare with monotone. You're not moving your body. You're talking like you're reading and it's off. And you're like, that's me, but it doesn't feel like me. It doesn't look like me. And then you don't want to do it again because you're like, the common denominator is me. That's what's happening here. And it's just off, right? And like, I don't want to show that to people. So here's how we're going to fix this. I need you to be in a safe space. I need you to be with somebody that you know. And another thing is, if you don't know what to say, friends, you don't know who you're talking to. If you don't know what to say, you don't know who you're talking to. If you've ever said, I just don't know what kind of content to create, you don't know who you're talking to well enough then. You really need to know the pain points of who you are talking to. And I know that the pain points of the people that I work with are, I have a lot of limiting beliefs around showing up on camera because I'm a vulnerable human being and I need to work through those things. Great, I can help you with that. And I make content around that. So you need to know exactly who you're talking to. And when you know who you're talking to, you don't need a script. We don't need to work on memorizing all of that. Okay. So I want you to also eliminate excuses around, I have to have things in a certain way in order to make a video. I'm telling you this because I'm that person. I travel a lot for work. And you know what I think every time I travel? Oh my gosh, you know what? I need to make a video this week, but I'm in a hotel room right now. I don't know. This isn't normally where I make video. I'll just wait till I get home. And you know what? I don't make it. So I need to get rid of those excuses that you need it a certain way, that you have to have a hook. You have to have your script. You have to have time to write down. You need your lights. You need a microphone, whatever it is. I want you to be able to just pull this guy out and talk to it and make a video with no filters, no script. I know that sounds terrifying, but here's how I'm going to make it a win for you. We're going to make this so that your brain is happy. And when your brain is happy, it's easier to form a habit and you're going to stick with it. So here's what we do in the 1-to-1 video. I want you first to pick out your person. Your person is someone you like, know, and trust. This is a past client. a current client, a referral partner that you trust. This is someone you know, right? This is somebody that if I ran into them at Target, I would be like, Lisa, how are you? I wouldn't be like, hey, you, how are you? I would actually know Lisa's first name. Okay. So somebody that you trust. And I want you to make a video that has a message like a visual Hallmark card. Visual Hallmark card. What is that? Well, we all know what the card section is. And by the way, when we send a card to someone, that says something, right? Because like they're expensive. And I don't send cards or get cards like I used to, but that means something still. When people are like, oh my gosh, you got me a card. That's so nice. And so I want you to think in terms of what would you have at the card store? Happy birthday, happy anniversary, thinking of you, grateful for you, congratulations, whatever it is, right? It's usually something nice and in the card store, right? So I'm just going to pretend it's Lisa's birthday. Okay. Or you know what? Let's not even do birthday. That's too easy. I'm going to say, you know what? I haven't talked to Lisa in a while, and I just wanted to let her know that I'm grateful for her. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to do birthday. Okay. But this is kind of like the thinking of you card. And so bonus points if you can do something else while you're recording this video, because there is something about like walking or being somewhere where you're not so focused on the video that you're like, okay, I can do this, right? So I'm going to pull out my phone and I'm going to go to any social media platform of my choice. Facebook, Instagram, it doesn't matter. You could even do this on LinkedIn. Okay. We're going to open up that app and I'm going to start a new message to Lisa. And the cool thing about all of the messaging apps is they allow you to text or type. They allow you to send a voice message and they allow you to send a video message. So we don't have to set anything up. We don't have to open up our camera, save it to our camera roll, blah, 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 blah. No, we're just gonna go right to it. Okay, I'm pretending I'm on Instagram. I got Lisa. Okay, great. And my camera. I'm going to pretend that I'm out walking my dogs. Okay. So I got my 3 dogs. I'm walking and I'll be like, Lisa, oh my gosh, it has been such a long time since we talked to you. You know, I just wanted to let you know that I was thinking of you. I just want to say thank you. I love looking at your posts. It just brightens my day. And I just wanted to say that I'm grateful for you. Okay. Boom. Done. Right. No script. I'm not thinking about me and what I look like and what I sound. I'm thinking about Lisa. And because I'm doing something nice, I really can't help but smile. How do you say I'm grateful for you or thank you or happy birthday without smiling?
Right.
It's really hard to do, believe it or not. So now I don't need a script. I know who I'm talking to and I did something nice. So I feel good. Lisa feels good. And guess what, guys? This is the best part. When you watch that video back, you see a more authentic version of you. It may not be the best lighting, but you're smiling, you're talking in a tone that's modulating up and down. We don't know, because I know this because I study presenting. It's very hard to present and emote and feel like you're talking to someone, right? Because when we're reading or we're memorizing, it changes in the tone, body language, etc. So when we get you off of that and you start seeing yourself and you can start to relax and you're like, I can do that again. And then what happens is when I send it through the DM, through the direct message, the computer goes, wait a minute. Chelsea just sent a DM to Lisa. And we don't care if it's a video or a, message or whatever, but she sent something. Lisa opened it and said something back. Okay, guys, we need to reshuffle both of their feeds. So the next time Chelsea posts something about the market or a tip or whatever that has nothing to do with Lisa, we better make sure Lisa sees it. Thank you. I'd love that. So if you do this little video strategy, this one-to-one video strategy, what you don't want to do is send it in a text. Because if you send it in a text message outside of a social media platform, it ends there. It ends there. I want your content to work smarter and harder for your future content. So you don't have to post as much and you get seen by the right people. So now what happens if I send it in the DM and next week I post something that has nothing to do with Lisa, she's going to see it because we've been talking in the DMs. And then Lisa's like, gosh, I feel like you're everywhere. Every time I open up my social media, I see your content. You were in my notifications. I'm getting your monthly email newsletter. Geez, you are everywhere. And that's exactly how I want her to feel, right? So that is the easiest simple video strategy that is not only going to help you build camera confidence, but it is going to train your algorithms. Works on any platform. Here's one little caveat, friends. We are not going to use this as a cheat code. We are not going to go to Facebook tomorrow and look at the 12 birthdays that are happening this week and make one video that says, hey, friend, happy birthday, and send that video to all the people, because that's for us, not for them. That's for us to be like, oh, look at me. I did all my social media engagement in 30 seconds. That was awesome. We're doing unscalable human things because it's so rare. Because it is so rare, right? So we are doing that, and we're not PSing. We're not saying, oh, also, just letting you know, I'm here for any of your real estate needs. No, there's plenty of times for us to be able to remind people what we do and how we can help them. That's what your content library is for. When you're having these one-to-one communications, this is about creating a them-focused experience with your brand. Now, Kat asked, should I record Insta and Facebook content vertical or horizontal? Everything besides YouTube, vertical. Everything besides YouTube, vertical. YouTube still is horizontal or landscape, except for they even have a short form vertical video section called YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts. But everything is going to be vertical, okay? Because it's bigger. And if you have horizontal in the feed, it's very tiny. So you want it to be vertical. They're promoting vertical video. They've actually said, listen, if you're going to put content on Instagram and it's not vertical, we're not going to show it as much. Okay. Number 2 type of video, stories, Facebook stories, Instagram stories, mainly Instagram. I say mainly Instagram because it still really is the platform that owns stories, meaning a lot of people use stories in Instagram. And stories are where the conversion happens. So the one-to-one videos build your confidence. The stories create conversion opportunities. And I get the most conversions in business via stories than anything else I do. Do I get somebody that finds my content and then maybe hires me? Sure. But by and large, I will get the majority of my conversions via stories in a couple of different ways. One, people are connecting while they're consuming. And I always say you got to love your lurkers. And I say that as a positive thing. Like, we're all lurkers, right? We're all just going through content. You're not talking to every single person, right? But you're connecting while you're consuming. And this may be a story that's happened to you. It happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I was in Montana with my hubby, and we were out there for our anniversary, but also a little bit of work. We did this really cool, sled thing on the frozen lake and whatever. And I posted about it. Well, this person who did not comment on any of it, I happened to be in a meeting with them a week later, and they said, hey, wow, that thing you did in Montana looked really cool. How was it? And I was like, there it is again. There's a lurker who did not tell you that they were consuming, right? And so we need that low barrier, no barrier of entry content, the stuff that has nothing to do with real estate, because what happens is we'll talk to people about that. We'll talk about the mundane. We'll have conversations about things that we're like, oh my gosh, I totally do that too. And once we start that conversation through the mundane content, we've already had a conversation. We've already engaged. And so I will be ready to talk to you more than somebody else I've not engaged with, because we already have that open line of communication. Oh, and by the way, you're familiar, you're likable, you're relatable. And I've built this relationship in my head. And the reason that happens so much in stories is twofold. Actually, it's a couple more than that. Number one, it's real-ish time, meaning it's this 24-hour cycle. So you feel like you're in the story with me. It's kind of like watching a reality TV show, but you get to talk to the people. Like, I don't know if anybody's watching Love is Blind, but like, wow, would I have loved to talk to the people while it was happening. I just finished the reunion. So it's like that. So you feel like you're a part of it, right? But even more so when you can talk to the people kind of while it's happening. The other really important psychology piece of it is that you're seeing people in their intimate spaces. And I just mean like their living room, their couch. This is my office. You get to see me in my world. And we believe people that we see in their world. Meaning, if I see something that is highly edited, highly scripted, it's not going to feel the same. That's why people have influence marketing. Because if I'm holding up a new peanut butter I just got at Trader Joe's and I'm standing in my kitchen making, PBJs for my kiddo, and I'm like, you know what? This peanut butter is so good. I love it. Have you guys tried it? Somebody will go out and buy that peanut butter because they saw me talking about it. And that was not an ad, because we believe people when we see them in an unedited, sort of behind the scenes manner. The last piece is that it's private one-to-one messaging. We've been talking about the DMs, right? People are going to be able to comment and talk to you in those direct messages, and you have different conversations in a private message than you do in a public comment forum.
Right.
Like, you'd be having a really bad day. Maybe something happened with your parent. Maybe you just got really bad news about your parent and their health. You're having a bad day and you're chatting with someone, and you're more likely to say, what's really going on in your world. And you have those different kind of conversations when not everybody sees it. So it leads to this combination of feeling like I already know you and feeling real and authentic, and also having that ability to talk to people while it's happening. And that's why conversions happen there. So stories, how many do you do, or what number? Again, no wrong or right. I love stories because I don't have to do any editing. I don't have to use any hashtags. I literally can just talk like I'm talking to you. And so for me, it brings me joy. And so I will say, story your face off if you want. If people don't want to watch it, they will literally just move on, right? If it brings you joy, do it. If you are absolutely like, this is drudgerous, I hate it, and I'm like, why are you doing it? I was at a conference and this person said, I'm posting every day and I'm chopping it up into 34 pieces and I have a team, and I go, does it bring you joy? Or do you like that? No, but I thought I had to do it because that's what somebody told me. I'm like, there's plenty of ways that we can do this, right? Like, if you are miserable, do not do it. It's going to show. Okay. So the last type of video, and this is where I'm going to give you some tactical tips as well. One tactical tip I'll give you for stories: use the poll sticker where it gives you a this or that. You can just put a little sticker into your stories. Why? Because again, we want to increase engagement and we want to make it simple, easy. I don't want to think. You could be like, hey, do you have any questions about that? Nope. Can't think of one question. Can't do it. But what you can do is say, do you like this or do you like that? And if I tap on it, it reorganizes my feed. So all those people that tap on your poll are going to start seeing your stories at the front of the lineup. And let's be honest, nobody goes to stories. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody. Every once in a while I do, but I go to the stories just like you do. And do I scroll because I'm like, oh, I haven't seen these people in the back for a while? No, I just click on the first one and start to watch. So the more that we can get up into that first area, the more likely we're going to have more engagement as well. So try a poll sticker today. And any kind of engagement sticker work. There's like a slider scale and all that. Another pro tip is you can actually use the question sticker. There's a sticker in Instagram and Facebook stories that you can put like asking a question, and there's like a blank and people can type in their question. But I just finished telling you that that's a lot of brain power. I mean, who has time to write in a question? If you have not used that because you are afraid it's going to be crickets, and no, what if nobody asks me a question? You can ask yourself a question. So you can post that sticker and you can go watch your own story and you can just type in your own little question. Nobody will know you typed it in. And now you can say, here's the things I want to talk about. Let me use a question sticker and I'm just going to type in what I want to talk about. And so for me, maybe it's like, how many hashtags should I use? And so I'm going to go, how many hashtags should I use? And then you can tap on it and now it goes into my story and like, here's a great question. How many hashtags should I use? Let me talk about it, right? So you can actually ask yourself the question. So if you're afraid that nobody's going to ask you anything, that's okay. Have no fear. You can ask yourself questions. Okay. Last but not least is short form vertical video. So we went from one human only. Then we went to stories. Here's the cool thing about stories. Only people that follow you see it. Only people that follow you see it. So it's not going out to everybody under the sun. And they disappear after a 24-hour cycle. A lot less content stress. Now we get into short form, which is Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok, etc. Anything that is short, it's a video and it's vertical. That is a short form vertical video. These are a little bit different than stories because this content does go out to people that follow you, but by and large, it's going to be served to people who don't know who you are. Yay. This is the recommendation algorithm at work where it's like, hey, you like videos about this? Well, here's somebody that you don't know, and we're going to show you this video. So now you have an opportunity to get your content seen by new human beings, and not just random human beings that are actually interested in whatever it is you're talking about. Love that for us. So short form vertical video requires a couple of little tips. So I'm going to give that to you right now. So I see the questions in here too. So I'm going to get to those in just a second because I see that Aria and Mark have a question. So I've not forgotten about you. I will get to that. While I'm on this topic, I just want to find this one slide so I can give you a visual. Okay. Now this next slide I'm going to talk about is going to be video tips. And I want to be very clear that the video tips that I'm going to share with you work on any platform. Okay. So I try to teach strategies that don't depend on like one specific platform. Now, granted, I talk a lot about Instagram because that's where I spend a lot of my time. Let's just go here. But these tips are going to work anywhere. Okay, so how to make better videos. So if you follow these tips, these are very, these are really, really effective, but very simple. I love a simple, I love an effective. Okay, so a couple of simple tips here. 0 seconds matters. Okay, there's this blog article or whoever, I don't know, said it, is going around, and it's like you have 3 seconds to grab someone's attention. Friends, we are not going like this. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. I think I'm going to swipe now. No, we do not have 3 seconds. We've got to start right away. And how you start matters. So let me tell you how we're not going to start. We're not going to do an introduction. We're not going to say something like, hey, everyone, it's Chelsea Pietz with Fill in the Blank Brokerage. And today we're going to be talking about my listing at blah, 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 blah. You have already lost people at hey, everyone. And we don't want to do general. Okay. We want to use the word you because I want to talk to you. I want to imagine that you're the only person watching this video. So 0 seconds matters. We're going to ditch the intros. If you really want to introduce yourself, you can do it after the first sentence because we want to grab people's attention. Because if they don't watch 0 to 3 seconds, they will literally never watch 3 to 30. They will never watch that much. So we've got to grab them, and we're going to grab them by using what's called a hook. So write that word down, a hook. We're not going to use intros. My easiest hook, which is just another way to describe your first introductory sentence, is to ask a question. Ask a question and use the word you. So here's an example of how I do that. So when I gave you the other example where I was introducing myself and like, here's my new listing. So I want to turn that into a question. And so what I'm going to say is, do you want to know what $1 million buys you in wherever you're at? Okay. Or if it were my content, I would say, do you want to know what the biggest mistake real estate people are making on Instagram? So when you ask a question, it piques the interest. The brain's like, ooh, and you're using the word you. So now I know you're talking directly to me. Mm-hmm. And so we need to have that hook where we get right into it and we have questions. Okay, the next one is a little technical. So for those of you who have never made a short form vertical video like a reel, have no fear. I have a video that I can even send you on this, but I'm going to explain it. And I know it might move a little fast. So if you've never made a video before, I apologize if this is confusing. So a lot of people ask me about editing. First of all, I hate editing. I hate editing. I loathe editing. I absolutely just, blah. And so I don't like to edit. And so I don't. And so one of the things that a lot of people ask me is like, yeah, but how do they do all these fancy like transitions and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, listen, good content does not need good editing, and good editing doesn't make good content. You are the content, your perspective, and how you're delivering the information. But we do need to know a tiny little bit of editing, tiny. And this is from somebody who hates editing. Okay. So if I can do this, you can do this. There's only two things you need to know. The fancy word is jump cuts. Okay. If you're like, what the heck are those? It's just a way to record in individual clips instead of one long video. So if I'm saying, do you want to know what $1 million buys you in Scottsdale, Arizona? Well, I am Chelsea with blah, 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 and I'm going to show you blah, 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 blah. Okay. So that's like a couple of sentences kind of just strung together, right? The idea is that you want to have one thought or one sentence per video clip. So I would break that up into two things. And I would say, okay, I'm going to do my hook. I'm going to say, do you want to know what $1 million buys you in Scottsdale, Arizona? Boom, done. That's it. One clip. Then I'm going to say, well, I'm Chelsea Pietz with blah, 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 blah. And today we're going to look at X, Y, and Z. Second clip. Okay. Now you might be thinking, how do I record these clips? Well, I recommend recording directly inside of whatever platform you're going to use. So if you're making an Instagram reel, you're going to go to the Instagram reel camera, you're going to open it up, and you're going to see a big circle at the bottom, which is the record button. It's as easy as this, friends. You put your thumb on it or whatever finger you want to use. I use my thumb. I record. I say my first sentence and I let go and it stops recording. Now, if I want, I can get a little drink. I can take a little look at my notes. I don't have to worry that I have lost my train of thought and have to re-record the whole thing. I can reset myself and then I can say, okay, I'm going to do sentence number 2. Okay. And I'm going to go back to the same thing. I'm going to record. I'm going to say sentence number 2 and rinse and repeat. And that's it. Now I'm going to give you a pro tip. Okay. So in this example where I'm like, let me just do one for Instagram, like I would do it. I would say, do you want to know what the biggest mistake is that realtors are making on Instagram? Stop recording, take my breath, do whatever. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to change my angle. Nothing crazy. I'm not going to go like here, have a new background, because our brain gets tired of seeing the same thing. That's why TV shows have multiple cameras. And we don't want to make people sick, right? We want to be like this, but you're just going to go here and maybe here and then back. Those little angles are going to kind of help keep the brain engaged. Now, maybe you don't try this on the first one because these are a lot of tips that I'm giving you, but I'm just letting you know that as you're getting gradually into it, a little angle change makes a huge difference. And you can do that if you're recording in clips. So I'm going to do my next one. I'm going to change my angle. I'm going to record my second sentence, and then I'm going to rinse and repeat. Okay. Now I also have the word trim. Trimming means you're going to just trim off the edge or the few seconds of your video. If you're like me and you have like a verbal tick where I say so, okay, or anyways, every time I start a sentence on video and I don't know why, that's okay. I just trim it off. And I used to get in my head and I was like, oh, okay, you have to start it this way, do it. And then it would just be so forced and it just would look awkward. And then I thought, why am I worried about this? I can just trim it off. I can say so all I want and then, start my hook and I can just trim it off and go click. And so that's what I do. So I literally record in clips. And then when I'm in the review process, I'll just trim off either a little bit in the front, a little bit in the end, and that's it. And I do it all inside of the app. I don't use a third-party tool. It's nothing fancy because you don't need fancy, you need functional. And that's it. So the only two things that I would recommend you learning is how to record in clips and where the trim feature is. A quick Google search will show you where those are. And yes, you'll have to probably do it a couple times to get your feet wet and understand how it goes. And then you'll be like off to the races. All right. Don't rely on music. Okay. I know that all of the things want you to use all of the things. And they're like, hey, everybody, you should use trending music. Yes. Music absolutely takes a video to another cinematic level. We've all seen videos that if they didn't have the soundtrack, probably wouldn't be that good. And I do like to use music, and oftentimes we'll use trending music. Now, here's a couple of things that you're going to need to know if you are going to use music. Number one, if you're talking in the video and you're going to have music in the background, it needs to be really low. Really low. Like it gives you like a scale, like you can drag the volume up from 0 to 100. Friends, it needs to be at 4 or below. Because if it's too loud, it's going to be distracting. And I'm somebody who is a neurodivergent. Like I cannot concentrate on what you're saying. If your music is so loud, I'm just going to move on to the next thing. So if you're going to use music, make sure it's low enough so it's not super loud and distracting from the video. The next point is really important, that no matter what happens, that's not our fault. Something strange happens and they'll pull that music because of maybe some copyright issue or who knows. And if they take that music from your video and you're talking in the video, they also remove you talking. And now you got a bunch of videos that sounded cool when you had the music and now are silent. So don't only rely on music. And I know they're telling you to use it. They are saying, we want you to use trending music. I don't know why. Do they have a deal with the music place? They get paid? I have no idea. But people aren't there for the music. They're not there for the views. Views do not have value. I want the content. And if I want to come to a content library at 2 a.m. because I can't sleep and I want to consume and go down a rabbit hole of your content, I could care less what kind of music you're using. I probably would prefer if you didn't have any music so that I can just listen to what you're saying. So don't rely on music. Views do not equal value. Follower count does not equal bank account. Okay. And then the last tip here is actually I have 2 more tips, and I know we're a little bit over on time. So hopefully it's okay, Candace, if we go a few more minutes.
Yes,
okay.
Please.
Closed captions. Okay. Today is the last day you will ever post a video online without closed captions. And here's why. Okay. Number 1, the biggest reason, accessibility for the many users who are hard of hearing or deaf and are unable to consume your content with any sound. For the 90%, I'm one of them, of humans who choose to consume content with no sound for a variety of different reasons. And also for the people, I mentioned this earlier, my brain works differently. If I really want to retain something, I need to read and hear it at the same time. So if you want more watch time, if you want more engagement, you better have closed captions on your videos, because you're not going to watch a video where someone's mouth is moving and you have no idea what they're saying. You're just going to scroll past until you get to the next one. So unless it's a one-to-one video to your like, no trust friend, it's going to have closed captioning. Good news is that every platform now includes an option for you to add them. So you don't have to go to another app. You used to have to go to a third-party app and it was just a pain in the rear, but now it's a lot easier. And I know it's an extra step. I know that when you're making your Instagram story, you're like, do I have to put my captions on? Yes, you do, because people are tapping like this and they are not listening, and it will get faster and easier. And I even forget that I'm adding the captions now. So yes, any video that you're doing, stories, short form, long form, you need to have that option. We already talked about consistency. And then this last one's really important. We talked about the verbal hook, okay, which is how you start your video, but we didn't talk about the visual hook. And this I see time and time again. This is going to stop the scroll. If you want to stop the scroll, it's this one little tiny thing. And here's what it looks like. Okay. This is my friend Giselle. And she has text, simple text that tells you what every single one of her videos is about. You don't have to go to a third-party app. You don't have to make it look fancy. You don't have to go to Canva unless you want to. But you need to tell people what your videos are about, because I want you to imagine that she has no words. I have no idea what she's saying. No clue. So I'm not going to watch all these things. And remember how we scan. Somebody maybe referred us. Maybe I found your reel. I'm going to go to your profile and I'm going to scan in seconds. I'm not going to watch all your videos. Maybe if you're lucky one, but I want to know if you know what you're talking about. And so I want to see, oh my gosh, wow, you have like 30 videos about making videos. You probably know how to make videos. Okay, now follow. And so we need to know what all of your videos are about. And again, this is built in. All you have to do is use the text tool and add a title or, a headline, what we're calling a visual hook here. Because if you're scrolling, right, you're scrolling and we read so fast, you can't not read. You cannot not read, right? So when you're scrolling, if you want people to stop the scroll, you better give them something visual that's going to be, oh, wait a minute, what's this? So those are some things that will help you on any video platform, and you will see your engagement, your watch time, consumption all go up as well. Okay, we've got some questions. So let me pop in here. And then Candace, let me know when you need to cut me off.
We're good. We're good. Let's go.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Let's see. Okay. What if you have two separate different businesses? Very good question. I'm glad you asked, because that is the one time that I will say it is a good idea if you have two totally, like, let's say you're selling a product. I'm just looking at my phone because it's on my desk. Let's say you sell phones. Okay. And you also sell real estate. Well, your content about phones is going to be a lot different than real estate, and you're going to use different hashtags and whatever. This doesn't mean that you can never talk about anything but real estate on your profile. Okay. You're a multifaceted human being that happens to sell real estate, not a realtor that happens to be a human being. We expect you to have content that is not just real estate. But if you are going to have a secondary business, it is good to have a secondary account for that, just to keep it separate and to keep your clients from getting confused, and also the algorithm from getting confused. And let's say you're a yoga teacher and a realtor. Great. You can totally combine the fact that you love yoga and that you also are in real estate. So I don't want it to be like oh my gosh, you can never talk about these things. But yes, I would recommend, if you have like a side hustle or business, that you have two separate accounts. I have one account on Instagram personally. Mark says, I've heard that TikTok and Instagram are mostly used by younger people who aren't necessarily in the market. I wish I was in the younger people category. Yeah, Gen Xer here. So, okay, here's the thing. So years ago, going way back, 8 years, when there was this thing called Snapchat. It's still here, right? But it's not nearly as big. It was like the TikTok of, a decade ago. And I remember the people were like, what the heck are you doing on Snapchat? You're like an adult, like you're a parent. What are you talking to 12-year-olds? What's going on over there? And people told me that I would never build a brand, that I could never build business. And I will say that there are your potential clients and community everywhere. Are there potentially age demographically more of one for now? And, that all changes too. Because remember, Facebook used to just be college kids. And now what do we have on Facebook? Everyone, right? So absolutely. So new things generally tend to skew certain ages. And then usually as adoption goes, will grow into different ages. So remember too, let's just pretend it was all 18-year-olds that were on TikTok. Well, those 18-year-olds have parents. And they're like, hey, you know who you should talk to? There's this really funny realtor that I see. And I know it's weird that I follow a realtor, but like, I just really enjoy their content. You should talk to them. So there's always a way to, create a community and be found there. LinkedIn is awesome. LinkedIn is the first original recommendation algorithm, because if you've noticed, like, it's who's in your community. And then they kind of introduce you, like, so-and-so who knows so-and-so just commented on this post. So absolutely. And, could you post the same thing on TikTok that you post on LinkedIn? You could. However, generally speaking, I say know the language of your particular platform. Okay, let's see. We did that one. I haven't dove into IG. It's on your to-do list. Yes. So great. I would love for you to take the free class. Go to my Instagram. You can just type my name in the search bar. Actually, you know what? I'll just put it here. I mean, hello, it's 2023. We have technology. I'll just drop the link. Look at me teaching about technology and dropping the link. Hold, please. Here we go. So that's my Instagram, and there is a little link underneath my bio, and I think it even says like free trainings or something like that. I don't remember what it says. Maybe it says real estate school. Anyway, look for the link, click on it. It pops up and it will say free Instagram course. Take that and it'll help you get started. Thank you for asking. Let's see. We got that. Oh, thank you. Oh, Candace, you put my website in. Thank you so much. Can you save those completed ones and use for other platforms? Yes, you can. What I recommend is if you're going to create a video, let's say on Instagram, and you want to post it on other places that have vertical videos, what I do is I save the video before I post it. So that's always a good backup anyway, because this just happened to me yesterday when I saved something in a draft and the whole thing got screwed up and I didn't save it in my camera roll. So yes, what I do is I save it in my camera roll, because when you do that, it doesn't have the little watermark, like the little Instagram watermark, or if you're on TikTok. So I save it It doesn't save with music, but sometimes my videos don't have music if I'm talking. But yes, you can save it and then repost it to other platforms. And let's see. I think we were talking about mostly all the platforms. Lisa, you've got your music and it blocked your video. Yep, that happens all the time. Any tips on getting past the internal critic? Oh, my goodness. Again, if I had that formula, friend, I would already be taking it. I would just sign me up for that pill. But it really is about it's quite a bit of exposure therapy, meaning, you've got to do it. And, as somebody who's a highly sensitive human being, gosh, it's scary for me sometimes to put something out that might be an unpopular opinion. What if people don't like me, right? Because I'm the rainbow and happy face, smiley face person, right? But we always follow people or connect with people that have a unique perspective and personality. And so you're not going to be for everyone. And my biggest fear for years was, what if I get a comment that's mean? And still, I literally went to therapy about that because I was so afraid of it. Okay. So I'm just being very transparent and vulnerable. Start small. I didn't start where I am at now. I accidentally mentioned something about something not related to marketing, and I had more conversation about that than anything, and this light bulb went off. And I certainly didn't share what I share now. And also, y'all, you can be very private and still be personal. Different between personal, private. You determine what private is, right? And so it's going to be a little bit of exposure therapy, and just know that it can evolve. I'm in a season of life right now in my business where I don't feel like posting more than X, Y, and Z. And that's okay, because next year, maybe it'll be different. So you can change that as you go. Larry says, can I use one page on Facebook? I know. Gosh, I wish I could say yes, but Facebook loves their darn business pages. I say just look at it as a really optimized free website. Post over there now every now and then, because it's a free website, but double down on your personal side. How do you link your shorts together to create a cohesive video? Oh, I don't know if you got, I think maybe, or I don't know if it was posted before we did, but that's the jump cuts. That's the clips. So the putting it together, the stitching of it, if you will, is done magically by the app. So as long as I have those clips and I push play, the app's like, oh, and here's one video. So it's like magic. So they do that for you, which is awesome. Okay, great. So we put that in there. Awesome. All right, friends. Well, thank you so much. This was awesome. I had such a great time. Thank you, Candace and Lisa. It was really, really fun to be here with everyone today.
We really appreciate it. I have just like a few things lifted off of my chest. I'm like, it's not that bad. And yes. If I can only post once a week right now, then that's what it will be. And we'll just gradually grow from there. So
I love it.
I got 2 pages of notes, so
I have 4.
I great information.
And we have a recording. So thank you.
Good.
Noted everybody who was on the video. So thank you so much. We appreciate your time. I am so excited to have just been here with you in the space. Personally, it's amazing. Like I said, I've been following you for years. So thank you.
Thanks, Lisa, for having us here. Thanks, everybody. I look forward to seeing you on the socials, and come say hi over on Instagram.
We sure will.
Okay, bye, everyone. See you later.
Have a blessed day.
Bye-bye.